Okay, guys, this is my 4th video, and I know that I had stated that I was going to pick up from me moving to Indiana, but I actually decided that I was going to go into a little more detail about high school. During my my sophomore year of high school, my mama got sick. She would have these spells to where she would get really dizzy, and she would throw up, and she lost a massive amount of weight. Like, she was down to like 95 pounds or something. She was really, really sick, and so I thought that I was going to lose her. We went to doctor after doctor, and if any of you know Rochester, Minnesota, she had went there. They had done test after test and couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. So, I really thought I was going to lose her. This went on until I was a senior, actually, that she stayed sick. At that point, my sister Edna and my sister Betty obviously had moved out. Edna had been married. She had already had a kid. So, I was there to care for my mom, go to school. I kept a full-time job. But seeing your mom die it's hard to. It changes your way of thinking as well. I know that, you know, there's been so much in my life that has changed me. My grandma passed away December of 2000, and we had come to Kentucky. My grandma, Imogene, we come to Kentucky, and she passed away, and we had her funeral. And so when we got back to Wisconsin, my mom struck really sick again. So, and the point of these videos is to show you how God's got you, even when you don't got yourself. And He sets things in your life. He walks you down a path in your life to get you to where you need to be for Him. So, He can make beauty out of anything. All your pain, everything that you felt, He can bring beauty from it. So we got home, and Mom was real sick, and she got put in the hospital. This is my senior year. Christmas break come, I spent the whole entire thing with my mom in the hospital. A new doctor brand new doctor, just out of med school, had come in and said, "Jessica, has your mother ever been tested for diabetes?" And I said, I've asked them to do that. I don't know if they've done that, but I have asked for them to test her. And he said, "Why is that?" And I said, "Because she's the baby of 12. My mama and papa was diabetic, and all her siblings are diabetic, and she's the baby of 12. So I said, so there's a high possibility that Mom is diabetic." And he said, "Well, her history and the way that things are with her leads me to believe that that is what's wrong with her." So he done a glucose level. Her glucose level was 487, I believe, somewhere between there. He comes back and he says, "Your mom is on the verge of a coma." He said, "She's got type 2 diabetes and she's on the verge of a coma." He said, I really believe that we're going to be able to help her from this point." So they started giving her shots. I mean, my mom at that point was so blind that even when we took her home and they had her sugar levels coming down, she was so blinded by the sugar and the glucose levels being so high that she couldn't even draw her own shots up. So, or give them to her. So, before I go to school in the mornings, I would draw shots and give them to her. And then I give her shots in the evening. And I would have to bathe her. I would have to take care of her, but we would pray. And I prayed hard for my mom to heal her because she was so sick. So we would pray. And she got better. And then that's when Dad and I decided to take our company at that point, our logging company, and my brother-in-law at the time, Lynn, he's, him and my sister are split now, but at the time, we were all in Indiana together, and that was the road to getting to know Matt. My dad's sister lived in Indiana, and we went to see her. After I'd moved down there, we'd went to see her, and Dad had went to see one of his dad friends that they grew up with in Black Mountain down here in Kentucky. And when we went over there to play, because my dad sings and plays guitar, and when we went over there to play guitar with Truman, I met Matt. Matt is Truman's grandson. At that time I was 18. He was 15, and he was a kid to me, so like I didn't, think anything of it. I didn't really make anything of it. I, just kind of talked to him. Like I said, I was a social butterfly. I could talk to anybody. So I talked to him for a little bit, and we went on our way. And it wasn't for at least another year, I think it was, before I saw him again. He had got into some trouble at school, and again, if he agrees to me telling you his history, then or himself can tell you, but as of right now, I'm going to leave it as he got in some trouble at school, and he was no longer in public school. And my dad's sister, Henrietta, started to homeschool him. So I would go and spend weekends at my aunt's house, and I got to know Matt pretty good. He told her that he wanted to get into, like the DNR or forestry or something of the sorts. And so since she could make his classes for him, she thought it'd be a good idea if I kind of took him along with me on some of my trips to buy trees and teach him some things about forestry. And managing forestry. So I did so, because, that's what she wanted. She's my aunt, so whatever. And that got me to know Matt just a little bit better. And by that point, Dad had already done everything he wanted to do in Indiana, so he was living back in Wisconsin. So that's why I'd been staying with her, is basically just to finish up the business down there, because we didn't have any more business down there. So I was just trying to get everything situated to go back home. And so I'd stay months at a time with her. And by that point, Matt was 16 and a half-ish. I had went home, and I got home, and maybe, I want to say 4 or 5 hours after I got home, from Indiana to Wisconsin, and my aunt calls and said, "Have you talked to Matt?" And I said, no, should I have? And she said, "We can't find him." I said, "What do you mean you can't find him?" And she said, "Well, we can't find him. He got in a fight with his dad, and he ran away." So, I said, well, because I had to sleep. I had already drove 12 hours at that point. So I said, if you guys haven't found him in about 6 or 7 hours, let me know. I'll head back down there and I'll see what I can do. That should have been my first clue. That I was willing to drive 12 hours to find somebody. But he was younger than me by 3 years, so I thought, nah. But anyway, so they found him. He was at his uncle and aunt's, and he had moved in there. Well, I had, by that January, I had to, because that was like in November-ish, by that very next January, I had to go back to Indiana. The job was completely finished, and we were closing everything up, all the paperwork with all the lawyers, all that good stuff. So I went down to sign everything and to get everything situated. And it became Valentine's Day that year. And he said he didn't have a date. And neither did my cousin, which was his age. And that's how it was supposed to start. You know, he was supposed to date her. But anyway, so she canceled on us. She got sick, and she canceled on us at the last minute to go to the movies. And I had called my dad, and I said, I ain't taking this boy to the movies. He's like 3 years younger than me. He's not even 18, and I ain't taking him to the movies. And Dad said, Jess, really? You've spent so much time with that kid. Does it really matter? He said, just take the kid to the movies. And I said, no, Dad, I don't think so. And he said, it'd be wrong for you to cancel. So I said, okay. So we were supposed to end up at the movies, but we didn't. And we went and saw my cousin's little girl that she had just had. But needless to say, that's the night that Matt and I started dating. And it was February 14th of 2004. And by March the 20th of 2004, so a month and a few days, Matt and I got married. So Matt and I technically only dated a month, and I married him. It was the perfect fit. At that point, everything just felt natural. Like, with him, everything felt normal. Everything felt easy. So, yeah, so he made me feel, like nobody had made me feel at that point. All the feelings that I felt before, of not feeling worthy, or feeling nasty, or feeling disgusting from what had happened to me, he kind of made it all disappear. He made me feel pretty, I guess I should say. He made me feel wanted and loved, and everything I had never ever experienced before him. I didn't have to be somebody else. He loved me for me. And he loved me for all the incomplete things about me. He was one of the only people, other than my immediate family, I told about Grandpa. It all seemed right. And I had to go home. And like I said, I was saving myself for marriage. And I had to go back to Wisconsin. And I told him, I said, I don't want to leave without you. I said, I love you. And I said, so do you want to get married? And he said, yeah. So we went back to Wisconsin and we got married. And he was only 17. And I was 20. And that's when our life started. So I'm going to end it there. Love y'all. God bless.